An engaged couple vanished without a trace from their California beach house, disappearing on a Friday night, as if they had simply walked into the ocean and never returned for 5 years. Investigators believe they had drowned in the dangerous coastal waters, swept away by unexpected currents during a nighttime swim, but then a recreational diver exploring the reef discovers something wedged deep in the coral, a waterproof case containing unexpected evidence that proved the truth was more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. The morning fog hung thick over San Francisco as Janine Caldwell stirred her third cup of coffee, staring at the spreadsheets on her laptop screen. At 35, she'd built a comfortable life as a financial analyst, far removed from the coastal town where her sister had vanished 5 years ago. The apartment's silence was broken by her phone's sharp ring. "Ms. Caldwell, this is Detective Raymond Flores from the Monterey County Sheriff's Office." Janine's hand tightened. On the phone, any call about Meredith still made her heart race. "Even after all these years, I'm calling about your sister's case. A recreational diver found something this morning, approximately 300 YD from the beach house. We need you to come identify. If it belongs to your sister, what did they find?" Her voice came out steadier than she felt. "A waterproof phone case, bright yellow, wedged in the coral reef. The diver brought it to our Marine Patrol station. Can you make the drive today? I'll leave right now." The 2-hour drive down Highway 101 to M. Torre felt both endless and too quick. Janine's mind cycled through the same thoughts that had haunted her for 5 years. Meredith and David, both 28 then, had been so happy, so ready to start their married life together. The engagement party at the beach house was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, they'd simply vanished on a Friday night, leaving no trace except their cars in the driveway. The Marine Patrol station sat on the wharf, its weathered wood siding blending with the fishing boats and tourist shops. Detective Flores met her at the entrance, a man in his 50s with kind eyes and the patient demeanor of someone who delivered too much bad news. "Thank you for coming so quickly," he said, leading her through narrow hallways that smelled of salt and diesel fuel. "The forensics team has already processed the case, but we need confirmation on the contents." The evidence room was sterile white, a stark contrast to the rustic exterior. On the metal table sat a bright yellow waterproof case, the kind kayakers and swimmers use to protect their valuables, already opened. Its contents were arranged precisely on the table. Janine's breath caught there was Meredith's iPhone, its rose gold case, still pristine after 5 years underwater. Beside it lay a small white plastic stick, a pregnancy test. "Oh my God," Janine gasped, sinking into the chair. Detective Flores offered she was pregnant. "That's what we're trying to determine. The phone is still functional. These waterproof cases are remarkably effective. We charged it," and he turned the phone toward her. The lock screen photo showed Meredith and David on that very beach, her sister's strawberry blonde hair whipping in the wind as she laughed. David's arms wrapped around her from behind, his dark curly hair wild, both of them glowing with happiness. It was exactly as Janine remembered it. "That's definitely her phone," Janine confirmed, her voice thick. "I took that photo at their engagement party 3 months before they disappeared." Detective Flores nodded, making notes. The last activity on the phone was that Friday evening, a few texts, some photos from earlier in the day, nothing that indicated any plans to leave or any distress. The pregnancy test, Janine couldn't look away from it. "Does it show the display has degraded after 5 years underwater, but our forensics team believes it was likely positive. People don't typically keep negative tests, especially secured in a waterproof case with their phone. This discovery changes things significantly, Miss Caldwell." "Changes things how?" The detective leaned back, choosing his words carefully. "The initial investigation concluded rather quickly. Within days, actually. The assumption was that your sister and her fiancé were swept out by the current. It happens more often than people realize along this coastline, both of them disappearing together, with no signs of struggle at the house, no financial troubles, no relationship issues. Anyone knew about drowning seemed the only logical explanation, but now a pregnancy would have been a major life event. The fact that she had this test with her protected in this case suggests she considered it important. Will need to re-examine everything, their relationships, their plans, anyone who might have known about the pregnancy. I'll need you to think back. Miss Caldwell, did your sister mention anything about expecting a child? Janine shook her head slowly. Nothing. We talked every week, sometimes more. She would have told me. Her eyes burned with unshed tears. She would have been so happy. They both wanted children. I'm sorry to dredge this all up again, Detective Flores said gently, but this is the first real evidence we've had in 5 years. The diver who found it said it was wedged deep in the coral, probably been there since the night they disappeared. The current could have carried it from the beach. You're going to reopen the case. It never technically closed, just went cold, but yes, this warrants a fresh look at everything. I'll need you to stay available while you're in town. Are you planning to visit the beach house? Janine hadn't thought that far ahead, but now the idea took hold. Yes, I still have a key. The caretaker maintains it. Harold, yes, good man. If you find anything that might be relevant, photos, letters, anything that might shed light on the pregnancy or their state of mind that week, please let me know immediately. As Janine left the station, the weight of this new knowledge pressed down on her. Meredith had been pregnant. Her sister had been carrying a child when she vanished into the Pacific on what should have been a celebration weekend with their closest friends. The image of that small white test stick, preserved like a message in a bottle for 5 years, would haunt her for a long time to come. The drive from Monterey to Carmel by the sea took only 20 minutes. But Janine felt every mile weighing on her shoulders. The coastal route wound through cypress groves and past dramatic cliffs where the Pacific crashed against ancient rocks. She'd avoided this drive for 3 years, since the memorial service, where they'd scattered symbolic flowers into the waves for Meredith and David. The beach house sat on a prime lot overlooking Carmel Beach. A 2-story craftsman with weathered cedar shingles and white trim. Even from the driveway, Janine could see how meticulously it had been maintained. The garden bloomed with the same purple salvia and orange poppies Meredith had planted, as if frozen in perpetual spring. Harold emerged from the side yard before she'd even turned off the engine, in his 60s now. The caretaker moved with the careful gait of someone who'd spent decades battling coastal weather. His weathered face cracked into a sad smile when he recognized her. Miss Janine, he said, removing his work gloves. Been a long time. Hello, Harold. The place looks beautiful. He nodded with quiet pride. Mr. Marcus Ashford, he makes sure of that. Pays me regular every month, like clockwork. Says we got to keep it ready, you know, in case they. He trailed off, unable to finish the thought that after 5 years seemed more like denial than hope. That's very generous of him. Janine managed. He's been a good man, Mr. Ashford, honoring David's memory like that. Checks on the place himself. Sometimes make sure everything's just as they left. It can't be easy for him, either, losing his best friend and business partner like that. Janine fingered the key in her pocket, the one she'd never had the heart to throw away. I need to go inside. Harold, just for a little while. Of course, you take all the time you need. I'll be out here if you need anything. The front door opened to a rush of memories. The living room remained exactly as Meredith had decorated it, coastal chic with white slip-covered furniture, driftwood accents, and those abstract ocean paintings she'd collected from local artists. Everything was clean, dust-free, as if the occupants had just stepped out for groceries. Janine moved through the rooms like a ghost, Herself, the kitchen still had Meredith's collection of sea glasses in a bowl on the counter. The refrigerator hummed. Empty but functional in the dining room. The table was set for 6, the dinner party that never happened. She climbed the stairs. Each creak familiar yet strange. The master bedroom door stood slightly ajar. Inside, the king bed was made with military precision, throw pillows arranged, just as Meredith would have done. The room smelled faintly of lavender sage, Harold's touch. To keep it fresh, Janine started with the obvious places: nightstands, the dresser top. Everything was orderly, undisturbed. She moved to the walk-in closet where Meredith's clothes hung in color-coordinated rows, running her hands along the fabrics. Brought tears. These were the outfits her sister would never wear again. The shoes that would never dance at her wedding. In the back of the closet, a built-in dresser held accessories. Janine pulled open drawer after drawer: belts, sunglasses, jewelry. Boxes all perfectly arranged in the bottom drawer under a stack of silk scarves. Her fingers found something that didn't belong: a leather-bound journal, Meredith's journal. Janine recognized it immediately. She'd given it to her sister for Christmas. The year before she disappeared. Her hands trembled as she carried it to the bed, sitting on the edge to flip through the pages. The entries started sporadically: thoughts about wedding planning, funny anecdotes about David's attempts at cooking. But the final week's entries were different. More frequent, more urgent. Monday, the test was positive. 3 tests, actually. I had to be sure. David doesn't know yet. I'm terrified and thrilled and completely overwhelmed. We always said we'd wait until after the wedding, until the business was more stable, but maybe this is the universe telling us it's time. Tuesday, David came home stressed again. Another fight with Marcus about the expansion. Wants to open offices in London and Tokyo within the year. The numbers make my head spin. We'd need to leverage everything, take on investors. David thinks it's too much to fast. I heard them shouting in the Home Office. Marcus accused David of holding him back, David said. Marcus cared more about money than friendship. They've been like brothers for so long. This is tearing them apart. Wednesday, still haven't told David about the baby. Waiting for the right moment. Maybe I'm a coward, but I want him calm when he hears, not wound up about. Marcus and the business started planning how to announce it at Friday's dinner. Marcus will be there. Maybe the baby news will help. Everyone put things in perspective. Family first always. Thursday, overheard David on the phone with the lawyer he's thinking about buying Marcus out or being bought out himself. My heart broke listening to him. 10 years, building innovate tech together. And now this. When I tell them about the baby tomorrow, maybe it will remind them what really matters. David will be such a wonderful father. I know he'll choose stability for our child over Marcus's grand ambitions. I just hope Marcus understands. The final entry was dated Friday morning. Tonight's the night. Bought a little onesie that says, "Coming soon, going to put it in a gift box for after dinner." Praying this brings everyone together instead of driving them further apart. David keeps asking why I'm nervous about a simple dinner party. If only he knew. By tomorrow, everything will be different. Our little family, beginning just as another chapter ends. Janine's vision blurred as she photographed each page with shaking hands. Her sister had been caught between her loyalty to David and her hopes for their future, trying to navigate the disintegration of a business partnership that was destroying a friendship. The pregnancy, the precious secret, had been Meredith's hoped for peace offering. A soft knock on the bedroom door made her jump. Harold stood in the doorway, concern creasing his features. "Just checking. If you need anything, Miss Janine. Water, I could make some tea." "I'm fine, Harold, thank you." She closed the journal, holding it against her chest, just looking for some closure. He nodded, understanding in his weathered eyes. "You take all the time you need. I'll be outside." If you change your mind about that tea after he left, Janine sat in the silence of her sister's bedroom, the journal heavy in her hands. Meredith had walked into that Friday dinner carrying not just the secret of new life, but the hope that it would heal the growing rift between David and Marcus. Instead, she'd vanished into the night, taking all her secrets with her, until now the sound of tires on gravel drew Janine's attention to the window. A black Tesla Model S pulled into the driveway, its sleek lines incongruous against the rustic beach house setting. She recognized the driver immediately, even before he stepped out. Marcus Snashford emerged from the car with the same confident bearing she remembered, though 5 years had added touches of grey to his dark hair at the temples. At 38, he still cut an impressive figure in his tailored navy suit, the casual wealth of Silicon Valley success evident in every detail, from his Italian leather shoes to his titanium watch. His face registered genuine surprise when he spotted her through the window. By the time she reached the front door, he was already climbing the porch steps, arms extended. "Janine, my God, I had no idea you were in town." His embrace was warm, enveloping her in expensive cologne and what felt like sincere affection. Harold texted that someone was at the house. I thought maybe it was the real estate agent. I've had a few inquiries over the years. Hello, Marcus. She pulled back, studying his face. The boyish charm that had made him such a successful entrepreneur had matured into something more refined. Though his dark eyes held the same intensity, she remembered. "Come in, please." She gestured vaguely toward the interior. "Of course. I don't want to intrude. I just wanted to make sure everything was all right." He followed her inside, his gaze sweeping the familiar space. "God, it's like stepping back in time, isn't it? That's actually why I'm here." Janine settled onto the couch, and Marcus took the chair across from her. "There's been a development. A diver found Meredith's phone this morning in a waterproof case near the reef." Marcus went very still. "Her phone with something else?" Janine watched his face carefully. "A pregnancy test." What the shock seemed genuine, his hand going to his chest. "Meredith was pregnant. It appears so. The police are reopening the investigation." Marcus leaned back, running a hand through his hair in a gesture she remembered from years ago, when he was processing difficult information. "Jesus, I had no idea. She never said anything. Would you like some water?" Janine offered, needing a moment herself. "Let's go out on the deck. I could use the air." They moved outside, where the afternoon sun painted the ocean in shades of turquoise and navy. The deck furniture remained as it always had been, the thick dining set where they'd shared so many meals, the comfortable lounges where Meredith had loved to read. Marcus stood at the railing, hands gripping the weathered wood. The weekend was supposed to be a celebration. "We just landed the TechSoft contract, the biggest deal in our company's history. David and I had worked 18-hour days for 2 months to close it." "He told you about the dinner party?" "Of course, Meredith planned everything. She said she had something special to announce too, but I assumed it was about the wedding venue or something." He turned to face her, leaning against the railing. "I drove down from the city that Friday evening, got here around 7:30. The lights were on both cars. In the driveway I knocked, rang the bell, no answer. That's strange. That's what I thought, but David's car keys weren't on the hook by the door, where he always left them, so I figured they'd gone out, maybe decided to celebrate on their own first, have a romantic dinner before the party." He smiled sadly. "They were like that, you know, still acted like newlyweds, even after 3 years together. So you left." "I waited until 9, tried calling both their phones, no answer, texted them to call me when they got back. I grabbed dinner in town, figured I'd catch them in the morning." His voice grew quieter. "Saturday, I had meetings in the city, texted David about our Sunday golf game. We had a standing reservation at Pebble Beach. When he didn't respond by Sunday morning,